Okay, so I have one article for you today, and this is from a website called 24UR. I didn't look. Okay, it's out of Slovenia. Anyway, let's get right into the article because I cannot believe this is a thing that is still happening. Actually, I do realize it does happen, but it's still shocking when I see it. Mob burns woman and child to death over superstition. Police in eastern Indian state have arrested 4 people on suspicion of burning a woman and her baby alive for superstitious reasons and are planning awareness campaigns against superstition. The incident took place in the remote tribal hamlet of Kudsai. I think. Kudsai? I'm not sure. About 250 kilometers from the state capital, Ranchi, according to the BBC. Police said a mob of villagers attacked the family after rumors spread that the woman was practicing witchcraft and was responsible for the illness and death of a villager. Oh boy. Her husband was badly burned in the attack and is being treated in the hospital. Okay. Now, let's pretend for 1 minute that she's a witch. Obviously, no. But let's pretend for a hot minute that it's true. Why the child? Why burn the child? All right. Or attack. I mean, I guess they probably weren't attacking the husband per se. He just got burned because he was trying to protect her. But, yeah. People are just insane. I mean, this is why I dislike religion. If you just get educated and you're not deeply religious, this sort of thing won't happen. Or it's less likely to. I mean, there are plenty of fascists that you wonder, you're intelligent, how are you doing this? So it's not fail-safe, but it does improve things because seriously, it's well known that germs cause disease. So, whether it be bacteria or viruses, whatever. So, obviously, this village is filled with not very educated people. I'm not going to say intelligent because depending on the situation, they might not have access to education, so I'm not going to assume anything. The violence was allegedly sparked by recent incidents in the village, including livestock deaths and the illness of a villager, for whom his wife sought help from an informal healer. Poverty and a lack of doctors make this a common practice in such settings. When the man died, the accusations against the woman escalated to murder. So, it makes me wonder if there was a doctor available, if they would accept whatever the doctor said, because if they're so willing to believe in witchcraft, that is completely the opposite of believing in medicine. So I'm not quite sure having a doctor around would help the situation. But, they say poverty, and obviously poverty leads to horrible conditions. But it's also a lack of education, because if they understood that witchcraft is silly, that these these people died from a disease that went from livestock to humans or humans to livestock, who knows. That if they understood that, then even the fact that they don't have doctors or that they're poor, at least they wouldn't accuse an innocent woman of witchcraft. So it doesn't help, but it's more a lack of education because that breeds superstition. Police have launched a murder and conspiracy investigation based on the evidence and have formed a special unit to search for other suspects. Authorities are also announcing awareness programs in rural areas aimed at combating superstition, the BBC reports. This is not an isolated case. According to the National Crime Records Bureau, more than 2,500 people, mostly women, were killed in India between 2000 and 2016 on charges of witchcraft. And that's the other problem here. That is the end of the article. But that's the other problem here, is that this is also a case of misogyny. Because it's mostly women. So why is it mostly women? Probably because men, and let's face it, it's mostly men, but plenty of women too, but mostly men, are under the impression that women should act a certain way. And when they don't act in such a way, because because it sounds like this woman, take the case of the Salem witch trials. You already have suspicions about certain women because of how they act. Because they don't act the way they're supposed to. Because men are supposed to be able to control women. And so if women don't act the way they're supposed to, and something bad happens, they're just going to accuse them of being a witch. Even though there's literally no evidence. Simply because, they must be witches because they don't act normally. They don't act the way women are supposed to act. Whatever the heck in your culture you think women are supposed to act like. But if they don't act that way, they're already under suspicion. So when something happens, which invariably something will because, disease is a thing. There is no community without it. And if you're a poverty-stricken community, it's more likely to happen than if that woman makes the mistake of actually visiting that person right before death, or they would come up with another excuse, even if she hadn't seen him right before death, even if it probably was a month before, they would come up with some other excuse, because again, they probably already had her pegged as a witch because of other things. But a baby. Now, granted, she was most likely holding said baby because, that's what mothers tend to do. But seriously, you couldn't have ripped the baby out of her hands? I mean, think of the logic of this. You're accusing someone of witchcraft. So you're probably scared of them. So so you throw things to burn them. Okay, fine. If she was truly a witch, do you really freaking think that would work? Of course it wouldn't. Of course it wouldn't work. Because she should be able to protect herself. So the fact that she died kind of should tell you that, oops, we made a mistake. But I'm pretty sure that these people are incapable of thinking that deep. Because again, this is a lack of education, and in this case, probably a lack of intelligence. Because again, if you're going to attack someone for witchcraft, that's ballsy. Because a real witch would probably be able to protect themselves and most certainly their baby. I mean, they attacked the baby. So that should, you know, be a total no no. I mean, if she wasn't going to protect herself, she'd want to protect her baby. So many reasons why you guys are morons. So, yes, at first I thought it was a lack of education because superstition, blah, blah, blah. But no, you guys are absolute morons. Because if you could think logically for a hot minute, you would know that if you are successfully burning someone, let alone to death, then they probably aren't witches because, they would probably be protecting themselves otherwise. So, yeah. Anyway, that is the end of that article and the only article I have for you today. So I will end it here and I will see you guys in the next one.